Hi, I'm Brad Knowles, producer of Friday Night Flies, hosted by Scott LeBoldus and Scotty Holmes. Enjoy the show.
Okay, it's Friday Night Flies. I was just listening to the theme song coming in. I was thinking it's pretty badass. So
I was dancing to it.
he was dancing to it, so I was listening to it. Okay, so I've got the Copper John of the year.
Boom.
I call it the Christmas Copper John.
Boom.
Copper John variant, whatever. Yeah, it's a medium pattern for beginners and experts. If you like to try intruders, this is definitely easy. If you're just starting out, maybe a little bit difficult with the proportions.
Slow you talking. Give it a slow roll.
But
have a look at that. Feast your eyes on the Christmas gift.
You will like this fly. I am making a few changes to it. I'm using a little bit bigger of a bead so I can put some .20 lead wire in there. I don't think I put that in the material list, but yeah, so it's .20 lead wire.
Well, you know what? Tell people how they can get that material list.
You can get that material here at Pemberton.
No. FridayNightFlies.com, man.
You can
Yeah,
get
you have to go to the website to get the material list.
Oh, yeah.
But then to get the materials for that fly, you can get them at Spud.
Yeah, to get the materials you can get at Spud Valley.
That's right.
But to get the material list, go to FridayNightFlies.com. Sorry, I was looking down at the fly instead of up at the camera. Oh well. Yeah. So
busy day today, wasn't it?
It was a busy day.
We got a late start.
Yeah, we were going to start at around 5:45, but a lot of people came into the store today, so
last minute, man, it was crazy.
Last minute, people wanted to exchange stuff. People wanted to do this, camping, ski touring, all that kind of stuff.
Anyhow,
but
we're tying a Copper John, man.
We're tying a Copper John, one of my favorite patterns of all time.
Okay, we're going down there.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see what we got.
My head was getting tired of looking up. Okay, so yeah, this is one of my favorite patterns to tie. Pretty simple. You gotta make sure you get the proportions right. I like to tie it with a little bit thicker of a green wire, but I unfortunately didn't have that, so I'm tying it with a little bit smaller. That's why I'm using the .20 lead wire to help weigh it down.
Bulk it up too.
Yeah. Okay, let's get started here. I am using a size 10 caddis curve hook. I know you're supposed to use it on a nymph hook, but I tried this out and it surprisingly worked really well. Started to look good and started to swim well, so I like it. So I'm gonna start off with the lead wire first.
And I'm eating some French fries.
Yeah, Brad's eating some French fries in the background, so I'm kind of jealous, but oh well. Yeah. So we're not gonna have a whole lot of lead wire though, just because this is just for the thorax. So however big you want your thorax is how long your lead wire wraps are gonna be. So we're just gonna clip those two off.
Man, it was crazy in here today.
It was.
It was stupid crazy.
And this is also why I'm using a little bit bigger of a bead. It just tucks up inside a little bit better. Copper Johns can be tied on copper, obviously, beads, gold beads, silver beads, whatever floats your boat. Typically tied on a gold bead though. I'm just going to build up a little bit of dam for that so that it won't slide. Trim that excess thread off. And we're just going to tie that down a little bit.
Lock her down.
Lock her down. Okay. So now I've got... Oh, there we go. So now we're just going to take our thread to the back. And now I'm going to use some brown goose biots, which are pretty useful, I find. If I may say so myself, it would be kind of hard to find something else that imitates these. Well, maybe not, but they're useful.
What else you would use?
Well, maybe pheasant tail or...
Yeah.
Okay, so now I don't I want my tail to be just where that lead wrap is, to where it starts to really bank off. Right there. So I'm just going to hold that there while I lock her down.
Lock her down.
Lock her down. There we go. And I was debating on putting a little dubbing dam there, but I figured because these flies are so small, sleek, small, same thing. Well,
It's
no.
It's like a stonefly pattern, right?
It is. So
You don't want it too buggy.
yeah, if you saw in my description, I said drop it below adult stonefly. It imitates larvae. So this is a really good pattern that's just gonna catch you fish day after day, day in, day out.
You know what, Ethan? I like how you do your homework, man, before you do the show.
I try my best.
Yeah, you gotta at least sound like you know what you're talking about. You know
Well,
what I mean?
yeah.
That's important.
Well, my job is kind of to BS people, and I try not to do that on this show. But it's honestly, that is one of my favorite things to do in the whole world.
Who's dropping the BS?
Oh yeah, every day I do it.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna build up the proportions a little bit. So by the end of it, we want this right about here, halfway down the shank. We want it to be the same size as the lead wrap. So that's sort of tapering down into the skinniest part of the fly, which is where the goose bites are. Just gonna hold that still. And starting to build it up a little bit better. See where it's sort of starting to taper a little bit more. And once we add, this is also adding weight to the fly. So the better we can get it to sink without using split shot, the better it is. Okay, there we go, or I'm going to want to tie it up to there. So now I'm going to take some green wire. It's small. I'd prefer a medium or a large though, just because then you don't have to take as many wraps or anything like that.
Yeah, it speeds the process up a little bit.
Yeah.
But we
I
got
don't,
all night.
yeah.
Even the viewers, they're loving it, man. You got 7 million viewers on there right now.
Oh, that's good. I need that boost of confidence.
That's right. You know what we're gonna do since I haven't done it already? Let's turn on the super chat here, and we'll let's engage our fans here.
Yeah.
So if you guys got any questions or anything you want to hit Ethan with, other than is he single? Yes, this handsome young devil is single. He's single. And he's one hell of a hockey player too. Just for the record, ladies.
Yeah.
All-star hockey player.
Okay. So now I got that red wire in there as well with the green. Sort of the Christmas theme. Even though it's not Christmas, but I wish it was. Okay. Now we're going to take that up to here. We're going to take that all the way up to the head. And we're just going to add a half hitch in there. There we go.
Oh, butter.
Okay, now we get to start using the rotary power.
Bring your tray across for your bobbin holder.
Oh, yeah.
Back around, yeah.
There we go.
Swing it through the... yeah, and then there you go. Layer over that.
Okay.
There we go. Now we're talking.
So I'm just going to swap these two around. Okay, so now we're going to start using the rotary power.
Rotary power, baby.
Oh. And it's a little bit tricky at first to start this.
Yeah, because you're kind of working in underneath the
hook.
The hook there, yeah.
The actual pointy part that catches you fish.
And once you get past it, boy, she just flies through there.
Yeah, you just fly through this. So yeah, you really want to make sure you have the proportions with this fly. It's not that fun after when you spend all this time wrapping it up, especially when you don't have a rotary vise and the proportions aren't there. You kind of feel bad about yourself. But we remember the proportions. I tend to forget to do that step. And we're just going to keep wrapping her up. And again, it's a little bit trickier with this curved shank hook, but trust me, if you want it small and to work well, you gotta use this caddis curve. It helps a lot.
We're going to be hitting the river here this weekend.
Oh
Hard.
yes.
Yeah, the old river's starting to come together here. It's just getting a little bit of color. That means bugs are going to be swimming around and flying around. And you know what I saw last night for the first time?
What did you see?
A freaking mosquito, bud.
Oh, I've been biking lately, and
Holy.
I had 20 of them on my back the other day. My buddy didn't decide to swap them off my back. He just decided to count them.
Yeah. You know what you need
Thanks.
to do is you kill every mosquito you see early, and kill those breeders. They're the early the breeders. Knock the numbers down for later in the year, bud.
Okay, so now that we've got that wrapped up, actually I don't even want that big. Okay, so now we got that. We're just going to wrap up, lock it down. Just going to do some crisscrossy stuff right here.
Get all fancy.
Get all fancy. This thing's getting in my way. Okay. And I just devoted a special or a bad pair of scissors to cutting this wire.
Yeah.
It's not nice to use your $30 pair of scissors. Okay, so now we're going to go back up to the head and we're going to add another half hitch in there. We don't necessarily need to, but I like using this rotary vise. Might as well take advantage of it.
Thank you, Griffin.
Thank you, yes. And now I've got my lead wire, or not my lead wire, my red wire. And I just want even wraps, not super big, all the way down the green. And this is just going to sort of be a nice little hot spot touch to the copper john. And I'm just going to add one more little wrap right next to each other, just in case.
Give you something to bite down onto when you're wrapping.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to swing this thing back over.
Get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way, because it was getting in my way. Okay, so now I'm just going to lock that down. There we go. There. So now we're going to take our rubber silly legs. It's got like a black and white sort of checker barred. Medium. Just going to cut me off a slice. And I like to just take off a decent sized strand and just tie it in right where that red meets the lead.
Yeah, you can trim them down later to whatever length you want, right?
Exactly.
So you're better off to make them long to start with, because once they're on there, you can't make them longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, start long, clean them up.
I'm just sort of adjusting them as I go. And now I'm going to do that, or I'm going to trim, nope, because I want the measurements to be half decent.
Once you put your body in there, right? Your thorax.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to change proportion-wise once you got that thorax in there, right?
Exactly. So now I'm just going to tie this other side in there. Okay. Let's get that nice and snug right up to the bead.
Okay.
And now we're going to bring that all the way back to the very back. And we're going to take some of our diamond dub. This is sort of like a bronze diamond or dubbing. I like it for golden stones, but it looks a little bit too buggy almost for them. So I don't necessarily use it all the time.
Which one are you going with? The bronze?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So like I've got a greeny bronze, and I've got a just a straight out bronze looking copper color. Sort of bring it back to that original copper John feeling. Vibration. Okay. So just put that dubbing on there. That's all you really need. You don't want a whole lot of it. It's just to cover this part up really and make it a little bit buggier, larvae-ish. Let's add a little bit more on. But man, this rotary vise sure is helpful for doing this. Guaranteed. That wire wrapping probably took me an extra 2 minutes at home to do without the rotary. Now I'm just going to pull the legs back. There we go. So now we're going to trim up the legs. Now that we know the proportions.
You're going to whip finish that sucker off?
I could.
Yeah, finish her off and then give her the final finishing touches, bud.
Final finishing touches. Okay. So I honestly do not like whip finishing though when there's legs in the way and stuff like that. But
just challenging you, bud.
It's just a challenge. It's the fun of fly tying. Okay, that's enough whip finish. Bench is all sort of a little bit of a mess from everyone tying,
yeah,
but
it sucks when you're the last guy.
yeah, I'm usually one of the first. Okay, so now we're just gonna clean it up. I like there to be a little bit extra past, I guess, just so that it starts to hold its own legs up by itself. So I'm just gonna take them like that, and this sort of helps size them so that they're right length as well. I'm just gonna trim.
So how long are you cutting them? Like about the length of the shank, or?
Yeah. I'm
Here,
just
give
gonna.
it a slow roll. Let's just see what you got, because it's hard to see. There you go. Yeah,
Right.
man.
So that's even a little bit too long. So I'm just gonna trim it a little bit more on each side. There we go.
Okay, let's have another look at that. Roll it over on the side. There we go. Okay.
Right. So now I'm just gonna also do that to the back. Except I'm cutting them right to where the tips of the biots are. And that should be good. Yeah. There we go. And now I'm just going to pull them a little bit to where I want them. Clean them up a little bit more.
One or two fish, man. They're going to be...
Exactly.
They look completely different. Give her a nice slow roll. Let's have a quick look at that. Right, you know what? Square it up to the camera. Yeah, just hold it there nice and still for a second. That way I can get a nice thumbnail out of it. Bingo. Okay, go ahead. Continue with your slow roll.
Okay. So, that's my version of the Copper John. I like to make different variations of this fly. It's one of my favorites.
That's a lot of people's favorites, man.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it. That pattern is deadly.
Yeah, it's a deadly pattern. It seems to kind of challenge beginners.
We're up top as well here.
Oh, it seems to kind of challenge beginners when they first start fly tying. Easier for experienced fly tyers, obviously. But it's still a fun fly to tie if you're just looking for something to do. Yeah, that's my Copper John. It's Good Friday. Luckily, I didn't cut my thread, which I have done, unfortunately.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Just be glad you didn't do it live.
Yeah, I'm just glad I didn't do it live.
I've done it live.
So yeah, that's my Copper John. Good Friday and good night, I guess.